Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Rudeboy Sound, sounding off on all things Spurs this morning. And today, just to recap, this video is definitely about the recap. I'm going to see if I can just get this precise, concise, and just give you my take on the game. For starters, I had to go back and watch the game because I woke up late. You can imagine in the United States it's 7:30, and so I got up late. It was a very early game for me, and so I missed the first 23 minutes when I decided to go downstairs. It was already we were down one, and so I went back later on Saturday night and after the Yankees game, yeah, because I'm all over it. The Yankees, the Liberty actually won the WNBA. Shout out to them as well. My Liberty did win the WNBA title Sunday night, and also the Yankees were involved with Cleveland, and they're off to the World Series. So the weekend was a very good weekend, and the Spurs won. So I had a very good weekend, and that's to the extent of my sports in different sports and different discipline. I didn't play no music this weekend. I didn't do any DJing. I didn't practice. I did not do anything. I left it alone. I actually cut the lawn. I cleaned up the yard. So there you have it. You have my weekend in full right there. But just to get to the game itself, though, I thought the game was good. Just to back up, yes, I said I did watch the game from the start, and therefore I get a chance to see some of the things that I did not see or how the team actually started out. I think we actually started out well. We got some chances. That ball that fizzed across the goal from Brennan Johnson was a good chance, and the vein of form that he's in, you kind of expect the net to ripple, but that wasn't the case. And I think looking back at it, I would want to blame him some for the goal. I don't think he covered himself too much in glory. I think he thought it was over. He thought it was over, and it wasn't. Paro. I understand why Paro was where he was because of the first shot and trying to rotate and come back to set himself again. But by that time, with everything that was happening down there on the right hand corner, you expect your winger to come back and help out and be part of the defensive setup, and Brennan Johnson did not cover himself in glory. So for that, I will give him some flack for that. I think he was absent in that. But for the rest of his game, even though he did not score, I like the fact that he was active. He was doing his job up in the midfield area. Kudos wasn't really hugging the line, so that gave him some chance where he could come inside, and he was helping out Paro because they were funneling Kudos into Kulusevski and so on and so forth. So even though Kudos was having a good game along with Bowen, I think everything was intermediary. Nothing was really threatening per se. I don't think they threatened much. Um, Apart from that one shot that Romero had, not Romero but Vicario had to save. Looking at the entire game, I don't think they were dangerous. I thought they played um, less than what I expected. I thought West Ham was a better team. Even for the derby, forget about their form and what was happening elsewhere. I thought they would have ratcheted it up and come out better than what they show. But enough of West Ham. I think Spurs were actually good. We were tenacious. We pressed. We moved the ball, which is one of my pet peeves. Is that we move the ball. We move the ball fast, and the ball was getting to where it got to. What happened when you move the ball, as I try to explain to most people, that moving the ball is not a system, right? it's a tactical way within the system of how you want to get the ball to where it needs to go. And therefore, if you're not moving the ball, like when the ball is dying with Romero, you will get people out of place, because now you have the defense set and everyone is trying to get open. Now you can let the system and the tactics get you open by not holding on to the ball. Right, so if you're moving the ball tactically, when the ball is going down to the holding midfield, and by the way, Bissouma was immense in as the holding midfielder. I did not have him as a starter. I thought by Ange's thinking he would have had Rodriguez, Bentoncourt in there, but that was not the case, and so it all worked out. And something tells me that he's preparing for Bentoncourt to get a suspension. So why not allow Bissouma to be the lead number 6 if you're expecting that to happen? That just came to me. I don't know. I don't have anything on that. I don't know if it's a fact. It's just an opinion that I think. And I've always looked at it this way, that Ange favors a fit Bissouma, regardless of what we want to say about Bissouma. I've seen that from last year, that once Bissouma is fit, Ange is going to play him. I mean, Bissouma, by his own downfall, can just go off on the boil and lost his way most of the times, and he needs to concentrate and take the responsibility of anchoring the team on his shoulder and his head, because sometimes he really loses it. And I like Bissouma. I think Bissouma can be a good box-to-box. I like the way he moves as a number 6. I think he's very, very athletic, agile, strong, and all he needs right now is his head, to keep his head. The fullbacks, which I've always had a problem with in attacking in tandem, what happened with West Ham is that, because again, getting back to the main part, the ball moved. So because the ball moved, they didn't have time to go set themselves up in the final third. So what you find happening was that Son was coming inside, Brennan Johnson was coming inside. So they were stretching the play so far, right? The ball was getting there. So either the fullback has to go on the outside, which it takes more time to go on the outside to cover for whoever is going inside, or they came and they tucked in. One thing of note, later in the game in the second half, the way Archie Gray came on and played as the left fullback, that is what I envision to see the fullbacks, how I want to see the fullbacks play. Because what was happening was that he was not going vertical. He was not going down. And that could have been strategic. It could have been tactical, that he come inside and he actually formed another holding midfielder inside there. So he was providing protection as he come in. That's what I want to see from Udogie, and that's what I want to see from Porro, that when the play starts, is that instead of just heading into the final third, is to just make their way alongside the holding midfielder, in this case Bissouma. So what you'll have in the midfield, you'll have 3 players in the midfield, and then you will still allow your attacking midfielder. You're still attacking with 5, which is very good, and defending with 5. So you don't stretch your center. Your center backs, they will just stay right in the middle, and so when it breaks down, they, whoever goes right or left, then they just fill in, and you have 4 at the back, and then you have the number 6 in the front. That's simple tactically to do. But when you start taking off like a jackrabbit and ending up in the final third, then everybody just gets scattered all over the place, and there's no sense or cohesion once you're on defense. So that was good, and I think in this case I could say the way the attack worked, it helped the defense, because there are things that they would have done if they were walking the ball. That would cause problem and cause the fullbacks to push up. So that's an Ange. That's not on the players. That's an Ange to make sure that he's having his fullback sitting, or have one going and one sitting in, so at least you're always defending with 4, more so 3 to the back, because you can stretch the two central defender rights if you decide that you're going to attack with Poro, or you can do the same on the other side if you're going to attack with Udogi. So you could have three across the back, and that will help. And then you'll always have your fourth midfield, your fourth defender in the midfield. It doesn't matter how you dice it. You should always have your holding midfielder as your additional defender, and that is what we're not getting. Because the idea is that you want to be able to, because you play so fast and so open, you want to be able to put yourself in a position where you're always defending with five and attacking with five. Everybody else who comes in the attack is auxiliary, and you should be attacking definitely with more than 6 or 7. 8 is too much, and I will probably go to 7. If Bissouma decides that he's going to push up in the attack, then one of the fullback can come inside and take up his position, and as a play breakdown and you come back, then everybody start to fill back into the formation that they would have right into a 4-1-3-3 setup, and your formation would be start seeing who is in front of you. The good thing about attacking with 5 and having 5 in reserve is that you're able to now keep the ball in front of you. You're not facing your goal all the time, or at least the center backs are not facing their goal all the time, and that makes a whole lot of difference. If you're chasing the ball all the time and you have to turn and you have to run and you have to see Van der Ven Jets take off, then you're doing something wrong. I think the way the offense plays, and I'm trying to give some credit to Ange in this case. I'm trying to see through his system. I believe in the system. Don't get me wrong. I totally believe in the system. What I don't believe in is some of the tactical way of executing the system. And as a former coach, you can understand. And so I look at the game. Not just what's happening. I look at the game from a tactical standpoint. And therefore, when it comes to the change that he made with Maddison, I'm 100% behind him for that, because what was happening is that he's seeing a problem, knowing that the problem exists, and then go ahead and solve the problem. I think I like that. I like the fact that he knew that Maddison was playing well, and that was the best time to lift him, right? I think you'd have lost him today if he wasn't playing all that great and he was trying to find himself, and you lift him. When you lift him for a tactical reason and explain that to him, it is easier for him to accept that, and for the fact that the tactical change worked and we won. That is what you want to see from your manager. Put that in context. He did not do that against Brentford, not Brentford, but against Brighton, right? He did not make that tactical change when Brighton made their change and brought the team to a 4-4-2 to stop us from run. And at the same time, the good thing about what Brighton did, and I have to applaud the manager for that, was that he never pulled back his wingers, because the wingers were the ones who were making the inroads. He just made sure that behind the wingers that he had enough support behind them, and they attacked us down the wing. And obviously we lost the game, and said that he could not have made any change. In my humble opinion, he could have taken off Werner and put another midfielder in there and would have had a total different game. And I'm going to give him some credit for this one, but I'm not going to, go overboard with the praise that I see some people call him a genius and who's a master stroke and all of that. No, he did what he needed to do. See where the problem is. Lead from the sideline, or lead from the dressing room to the sideline, that these are the changes that we're going to make. And regardless of who Maddison is, in terms of names and status, it did not matter. What we really needed was a strong midfielder in there to put the check on Bowen and on Kudus. Kulusevski was already active, and therefore Maddison was the weakest link in the game. I'm not saying he's a weak link for the midfield. We have to take the game and put the game in context, look at it from that perspective, that what needed to get done is that the manager did that, rectified the situation, and we went off for 3 goals in about 7.5 minutes. That is what you want to see, and you have to applaud the manager for that. But I'm not going to call him a genius. I'm going to probably ask if he has more of that in him. Can I expect to see more of that? Can I expect that he's going to see the problem, which is a gaping problem, knowing that we cannot consistently attack with two fullbacks in tandem? It's a hallmark of his system. But if it's not working, it's not working, because the other team can make it not work. It's going to look good against West Ham. It's going to look good against Brentford and Man United and Everton. But if it's not looking good against the other top 10 teams or top 6 teams, then it's not working. So you have to be able to make that adjustment. And when you look at how Arsenal and look at how Newcastle jam the system, it is obviously that's the kryptonite. You put 8 men behind the ball and we have nowhere to go. And obvious and counterattack. And he still jams up 8 against their 8. And it's not working. So I would love to see him get a little bit more. I don't know, he doesn't like the word pragmatic, but he's not listening to me, so I can use the word pragmatic. He can get a little pragmatic and hold on to one of the fullbacks. Slide them inside the midfield. One can go, and you do that in alteration. You make sure that your defense, right, is solid, and everyone knows where they're going to be on the counter attack. Because what has been happening to us is that we're 6s and 9s. No one knows who they're picking up, and therefore, we're having mismatches all over the place. With the players being out of position, not knowing who they're marking. So we won the game, it was good, and this is what's going to happen with most teams. If they think they can come and open themselves up, and I said this already, it doesn't matter who the team is, right? If you think that you're good enough to expose yourself attacking Spurs the way most these teams want to do, they're going to get burned. It's not a matter of whether or not Spurs are going to score. It's a matter of how many. And if Spurs outscore you, if you give them the chance, I think they will outscore you. It doesn't matter what team it is. They have to be tactically correct in jamming the plays, making sure that Spurs are walking the ball and not running with the ball. And we were running with the ball, which makes a whole lot of difference. And you can go back and look at all the games. If you're a Spurs fan, you can go from game 1 until now, and you will see the games that we're actually walking the ball. We have 65, 67%, 60%. We haven't really won those games convincingly, because what's happening is that we're having the ball, but we have about 35% of what I call non-progressive possession of the ball, because that ball is sitting with Romero, and that ball goes to Van de Ven, and that ball goes back to Vic, and Vic back to Romero, and Romero sits on it and passes it 5 yards. You don't see much of that Saturday. You saw the ball was moving, and that is why I like Bissouma as a holding midfielder, because Bissouma demands the ball. Bentancur doesn't demand the ball. That's a big difference. You want him to get it by setup and by nature of how the manager wants to play. But then as a player, you have to put yourself in that position to go demand the ball, right? By the movements of Bissouma and being a vocal guy, he demands the ball. So Kulu can't sit on the ball. Not Kulu, but Cutie. Romero, he can't sit on the ball when Bissouma is playing at the number 6, and that makes a whole lot of difference, because Bissouma wants the ball, and therefore the ball moved much faster. What happened when the ball moved fast, I think I said that a couple of minutes back, is that the fullbacks don't have time to take off because the ball is moving. So they have to stay in now to get that secondary pass. And then you find out that the maestro himself, who is Maddison, is going to get a lot of touches, because once Bissouma gets it, Bissouma is looking to give it to Maddison. Maddison is coming back because now he has another creative guy if you look at with Sarr and Maddison, is that Sarr is less creative. Kulusevski is more creative and is a carrier of the ball. So that is what you like in your midfield, that you have someone who can actually take the ball and carry the ball. And that's what Kulusevski does. You give it to him and he's going to take it. He's going to carry the ball. So Maddison work becomes easier because now all he has to do is make that one pass, maybe get a return pass, and he knows that when it goes to Kulusevski, the ball is going to move because Kulusevski is dead set on carrying the ball. That's my kind of midfielder. I don't know if he's a number 8. I don't know if he's a number 10, but who cares, right? And so I like how the team played. I like how everything went. Just want to see that bit of consistency with the play that players are going to develop in their role. The substitutions, I am sort of scratching my head as to why Werner. And let me just give a big shout out to Son. I think Son was actually good. He was active. He was taking his man on. He came back refreshed. And so I like what I saw from Son. Johnson was good. Even though he did not score, we have to start looking at his overall game now that he's scoring, because you can't be one-dimensional. He's still not, in my opinion, that winger who is going to take it and run with it down there, beat his man. So the best thing to do is keep him inside where he's closer to Solanke. And I'm going to give a big shout out to Solanke as well. I'm sort of getting impressed with Solanke's game. His all-around game is really, really good. Solanke is one of those guys, to me, that is not pronounced. And when I said he's not pronounced, you will see him deeper, and you didn't know he was there. It's like it takes a while for you to realize that, oh my goodness, that was Solanke. It does those little things, right? So in his movements, he's in my opinion, and I want to get what I'm getting at, is that you can see, like, say, a hurricane, and when the hurricane drops back, you know that's hurricane. When Solanke drops back, you don't know whether it's Kulusevski or who's taller back there, or Van der Ven. He could get lost among them. You have to go ethnicity for ethnicity, or maybe he's just a brown guy. I know you all think I'm playing a race card here, but no, nothing like that. It's just that he comes back and he does his job, and then he's off, and I like that. I like to see that, and so I'm going to give him a big shout out for that. I think he held his game. He did not score, but I like my striker being active, and that's important. Why is it important that he's so active? It is important because what he also does is that when he's going into those space, he deter the fullbacks from coming too high, right? He deter Maddison, even Maddison, from coming too much onto him in the box. So you're looking to make those passes. I'm looking at him though, and I'm looking at Kulusevski, and I'm looking at Maddison, and looking at Son. Not so much Brennan Johnson, but I'm looking at the guys who are the creators, and what I'm noticing is that he's not getting any clear-cut chances. And so we have to figure out, why is Solanke not getting the service from the creative players? We have to look at that. We have to see why he's not being put through one-on-one, maybe with one defender, just him and the goalkeeper. We have to look at that. Do we have to pass early? Is it him not getting familiar with the system? Because he's late, he was injured, he came in late, didn't really have a preseason. I'm beginning to look at that. But overall, his game is good. I like his game. Liked his game. I was talking about the substitution. I just get carried away sometimes. I don't understand the Werner substitution with a healthy Mikey Moore. If Mikey Moore is healthy, then you bring Mikey Moore on, put him on the right, put Johnson on the left, if you're going to let Johnson go 90 minutes. So that was perplexing. So while I'm giving Ange credit for the substitution of Maddison, and the rest was okay, Benton, Kerr for Bissouma, and so on and so forth, and taking off your Doge because I think he still needs to get up to full fitness. putting Gray over there was surprising. But Gray, like I said at the top of the conversation, he did things that I didn't expect that he would do. As a matter of fact, he did things that that's how I want the fullbacks in general to be, wherein they're not chasing off once the ball is in play.